G'day guys, I've got a good fight analysis for you today. This one has a few different lessons in it, so there should be something here for newer pilots, intermediate pilots, and those of you who are starting to work on more advanced manoeuvres. The main fight is my Fiat G.55 against the Meteor. I've been working on my rolling scissors lately, and in this fight I managed to pull off a nice one and force the Meteor into a bad position. But when I watched the replay back, like I often do, I was a little disappointed with why it worked, because the rolling scissor worked, but the Meteor pilot helped me more than I realised. So we're going to have a closer look at that. But before we get into the Fiat versus Meteor fight, we're going to jump in at a point earlier in the game where, after chasing this P-47 and the ME-262, I decided to pull a hard split S to get back to the point and drop my bomb, which is something I've done before without any issues. I deployed my flaps and cut throttle to tighten the turn, which is something I often do. I've never really had any problems with the ME-262's flaps before. They're usually very reliable, but this time I'd already been hit by an AA gun, and although the aircraft's flight seemed unaffected, when I got to the bottom of the turn, the aircraft started to pull to the left and stalled. The flaps didn't fail, but I think the damage to the wing and the engine was enough to make the aircraft spin out of control. I just found it interesting to see that the game takes into account any damage to the aircraft when pulling demanding manoeuvres like the split S. After that crash, I decided to use the Fiat, and while I was waiting in the spawn lobby, I saw the Meteor crossing over the point. So when I rejoined the game, I already knew there was a Meteor nearby, and I was expecting contact almost immediately. Before we jump into the fight though, we'll do a quick comparison of the aircraft stats. Looking at them, we can see that the Meteor has the advantage almost everywhere. It's faster, it climbs way better, and it turns a lot tighter on paper. And it has 4 20mm cannons. The Fiat is still a very capable aircraft, and it's definitely one of my favourites to fly, but in a straight comparison, the Meteor should have the upper hand here, especially if the pilot keeps up his speed and energy. Now into the fight, I'll let it play out with the original audio, and I'll catch up with you after the fight. Come on, get the nose around. This could be a bit risky. Drop flaps. Stand now. Force the overshoot if we can. Roll, 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 not quick enough. Need more speed. Like another chance here. We'll go for it. It's a bit better. Flaps up, full speed still. Stay up a bit, drop flaps a bit. Oh, tempting to roll under. Need more speed. Rolling now. Flaps up. Flaps on now, pull the nose around if we can. Yes! Flaps up again. See if he reverses. Come on. That's enough. So as I said, there are a few lessons here for different levels of pilots. When I went back and looked at this fight through my opponent's view, I noticed three things that put them at a disadvantage. 1. They were carrying bombs for the whole duration of the fight. 2. They didn't use flaps. And 3. They didn't really manage throttle. Carrying bombs into a dogfight is almost always a bad idea. The bombs slow you down, they add weight and drag, and make it harder for you to turn or climb. When I know I'm going into a difficult fight, I usually jettison my bomb straight away, like you saw at the start of this fight. This improves my aircraft's performance and increases my odds of coming out alive. Combat flaps and throttle control can both help tighten your turn or force an overshoot, but they need to be timed carefully because they bleed speed quickly. As you saw in the fight, I would use them whenever I needed to tighten my turn, like to prevent myself from hitting the ground, but whenever I needed to gain speed or climb, I would make sure to disengage them. The second and more intermediate lesson is that you can set up an overshoot even during a turning fight, using a similar method to what I described in one of my previous videos. By using high and low yo-yos and changing the angle and shape of the circle, you can draw your opponent in and potentially cause an overshoot. As the Meteor closes in behind the Fiat, I'm watching for the moment when the Meteor is about to cross behind me. I try using a rolling scissor type maneuver to pull out a plane, roll across his flight path to disrupt closure, and then pull back in behind him. But as you can see from my first attempt, his turn is too tight for me and I'm unable to get onto his tail. The outward roll maneuver is usually a reliable technique. In this fight though, it was made harder by the tighter turning circle of the Meteor. As he closed in behind me a second time, I try starting the maneuver early, but I still can't get my nose around quick enough. And after failing a second time, I switch to a more advanced move, which I don't use often, and I'll call this one the inward rolling scissors. Unlike the last two rolling scissor attempts, where I rolled outwards, this time I rolled inwards towards the center of the circle. Rolling inward helps tighten your line briefly and can help you escape your opponent's nose as you dip down towards the ground. But it's risky because you have to break visual with the enemy plane, and if you mistime it or run out of room, you can hit the ground. The key to this maneuver is control. Once you start the roll, you need to keep it smooth and continue until the aircraft is upright again, or back at roughly the same angle of bank that you started with. Ideally, you end up in a similar position in the circle, but you've taken slightly longer to get there, giving your opponent time to overshoot. After doing this move, you can see I'm still in lag pursuit, so I need to pull my nose around in front of the Meteor to get a shot. I drop my flaps hard and dip down slightly to pull my nose towards the center of the circle as hard as I could. You'll notice that I pull fire in front of the Meteor towards where I expected the targeting reticle to be. And when I manage to land a few shots, the pilot reverses direction, which I've found is pretty common after a pilot takes a hit. From here, I was ready and waiting, and I managed to land a few more shots. That caused the Meteor's tail to break off, and as the aircraft lifted up, it presented a larger profile, which made it even easier to finish the fight. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed the fight and the breakdown. I definitely enjoyed flying it. My next aircraft-based video will probably be either a rolling scissors guide or some tips for beginner pilots and players looking to get into dogfighting. If this video was helpful, give it a like and drop a comment. I'm interested to hear what you guys think, and I'll be keen to try some of your tricks as well. If there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, leave it in the comments and I'll try to give it my thoughts in a future video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.